When I get home at night, I take all the coins in my pocket and I throw them into a box. Then every year, I give them to a local charity. Last time, the total came to nearly £500. And obviously, the charity is keen to take them because there's lots of silver in the box. You know, £2, £1, 50p coins. What's interesting is that even some charities now aren't very keen to take 2p and 1p coins because they know what we all know. They're virtually worthless. Now, Bank of England analysts say getting rid of these coins, just as it got rid of the halfpenny in 1984, wouldn't impact prices. The Chancellor Philip Hammond is under pressure to finally scrap coppers in this November budget. What we all know is that if he does, all sorts of commentators, you know, people like Nick and Carol, and politicians will scream that it will fuel inflation. But the truth is, these coins are of no real value anyway. So come on, Mr. Hammond, take the plunge. You're used to being unpopular anyway.
So I think a few things. They are of value. They're of 1p value and of 2p value. I didn't actually realise, though, you can't use pennies as legal tender for an amount beyond 20p in a single thing. So if you want to pay off, you know, your £200 debt with 1p, you can't. I didn't realise that. So that's the first thing, that they do have a value of 1 and 2p. The second thing is charities, they do. When you look at the Charity Finance Commission, they actually say that charities are making millions of pounds a year in donations because of 1 and 2p's, for example. No, that's not according to me. It's according to the research. Hang on, but that's this. The Charity Finance Group estimates millions of pounds worth of 1 and 2p coins are donated to charities every single year. Not my stats. This is their stats. So that's the first thing, that actually you don't need to. If we are all chucking our 1s and 2s, and I would pick up a penny on the street, by the way, mainly for superstitious reasons.
Yeah, I agree.
Secondly, when I go to, like, Cleethorpes or wherever, I like my 2p slot machines. I'm too tight to play on the 10p ones.
How often are you on Cleethorpes on slot machines?
Well, that's where I'd go with my family for a day out. Why not? Okay. Yeah, of course. To the arcades, to Brid or Scarborough or Cleethorpes. Okay. They're brilliant.
But did you know that 60% of 1p and 2p coins are only used once? 60% of them are only used once.
Can I just say,
you go first.
I want to come to your house, to your box, because if you're chucking £1 and £2 coins, then I want to be there to collect them. But anyway...
Chances are pretty slim, I would suggest.
I'm rather glad they went to something that needed them.
I think I might need them, actually. Anyway, I mean, you nicked my thing here. I've got a quote from the Charity Finance Group that estimates that millions of pounds worth of 1 and 2p coins are donated to charities every year. And they're saying this is particularly true of smaller charities who are more likely to depend on cash donations. And, you know, you might say 1, 2p is useless, and it might be to you. You're a rich man. But to someone who's on a minimum wage, an average wage, pennies matter. And, you know, you laughed at the idea of inflation. Supermarkets and shops will round it up to 5p. They will put prices up. So shops like Lidl, charging 49p for a pint of milk, will put the prices up. And that matters to people on a budget.
Well, when they got rid of the half-p's, and everybody said that's not what happened at all.
But 2p is different. And
but 1p today, if you take this is the new p. I mean, those of us old enough remember the decimalisation and the arrival of the new penny. The new penny in 1971 is worth 13p today. So actually, the inflation has made
because these were brought in 71 when a pint of milk was 5p and a white loaf was 10p. But you know, they did a report on this, and only 1 in 5 want to get rid of these. So that means that 80% of people don't want to get rid of them because it matters to them.
But they don't use them.
Let me just say, I think guys hate coins because it messes up their pocket.
That's true.
And I read that 8% of guys throw them away. I don't think women would ever throw money away. I think women would use it.
Look at that. Look.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Just throwing it away.
Just lost one.
Well, there we go. Sorry. Now,
what do you do with them in the evenings?
I put them by my bedside table and I pick them up in the morning. Unless someone... Yes, of course. Great. I've said this before.
20p I don't like that one,
I am delighted that I celebrate your success. Good luck to you. You've worked damn hard. You deserve it all. But on this one, you're out of touch. You're totally out of touch. What is the store that opened this week, which is absolutely playing Jack's, Tesco see the incarnation as really going after the Nettos, the Aldi, the Lidl and all of those. That is where real people are. Hold on one second, Sport. If they can pay 49p for a loaf of bread instead of 50p, they are going to go. And I don't mean this nastily, and it's good to you. It's all right for you. Great. The money goes to charity. The real world out there, they're there are nurses, there are teachers, there are firefighters watching this programme saying, give me a bloody break. I need that tuppence off a tin of baked beans.
And they might get 5p off, of course.
No, it won't go that way.
It could go the other way.
Pay your mortgages
Yes.
off if it
But the
goes
truth
that way.
is, 60% of these coins aren't used.
And however, we have 500 million are produced every year. Here's time for my exciting statistic. Can we have what the Royal Mint produces? 1 and 2p coins, 500 million are produced, well, in 2015, 2016. And if they're only used, what, once or twice, you're right, they're shrapnel. I mean, when I go and get a cup of coffee and there's a charity box, I always take my coin out and I take all the coppers out and I stick them in.
But that's good.
In there. And now you think you're right. I think it's keeping charities afloat and the very low paid.
Absolutely Carol's point.
Yeah. No, I know. I'm backing Carol up.
You're doing that. One of my mate's dads used to come home and he'd empty his pockets, and that just reminded me, he used to chuck his money and go scramble, and all of us kids would run and we'd go to the goodie shop, and it turned out, anyway, he was convicted for being a drug dealer. So probably
Hang on,
this is
all...
not the best story, but anyway.
Just spoiled the story.
I know, sorry about that. But anyway, should we listen to what other people on the street think about this?
How many have you got in your penny jar?
A lot.
What are you up to, do you reckon?
£2, £3 maybe.
If you saw one on the street, would you stop to pick it up?
Probably not.
They're pointless. They're just spare change. They fall out the pocket all the time. Like £1 coins, you actually buy something with them. The 1 or 2 pence coins are worthless.
No.
Why not?
Because they add up to £1.
I think we should get rid of them, yeah. They're too messy about. We should stick with the main coins. Absolutely. Too much jingly.
Keep the original stuff. That's the original stuff. Keep that.
No, absolutely not. Oh, totally. Because we need them, that's why.
If you saw 1 or 2p coin on the street, would you stop to pick it up?
Yeah. Yeah, see a penny, pick it up. All day long you have good luck.
I agree with her, but you know, the other side of it, I was in Vietnam a couple of weeks ago and I was walking around with millions and millions of dong to pay for bits and pieces, and you feel like you've got all this money and you've got like wads and wads and wads of thousands of dong notes, and they're not worth a lot at all.
You can never have enough dong, though, really.
You can never have, you can never have enough dong, Nicholas. You're absolutely right.
If we did get rid of them, I think it would impoverish the language. How could you say to your children, are you going to spend a penny? Go and spend a penny now. By the way, my grandmother used to say, spend a penny and spend tuppence, but maybe that's too much information.
Do you know, Susie, when I was a kid, if someone was getting married in your street, the bride would chuck out a whole bunch of pennies from the car, and all of us kids would scramble on tarmac to get.
But they were old pennies, weren't they?
They were old pennies.
They were old pennies. I've still got a jar full of great big jar full of old pennies.
Oh, they'll be worth a few quid then.
I don't think so.
They're not even legal tender.
He'll never do it, though, will he, Greg Dyke? The Chancellor? He'll never...
No, because why upset those people, some of those people? Half of them agree, half of them don't.
Stop making so many and let them just go out of circulation.
There was talk they were going to do it earlier in the year, and there was a massive outcry against it. But they completely backed off.
Was there a massive outcry, or was it people like you and Nick?
No, well, the newspapers led a huge campaign, moved by radio presenters as well. It was a huge campaign.
All right, before we go, there's just time for this. In politics, a good soundbite can be everything. You know, Brexit means Brexit, strong and stable, for the many, not the few. These catchy phrases can define a leader. Well, hoping to join the hallowed group this week was Lib Dem leader Sir Vince Cable. Giving a speech to his party conference in Brighton, we were told he'd be summing up hardline Brexiteers as experiencing an erotic spasm. Then it was suggested the phrase would be exotic spasm. And then we finally got to the big moment.
For the true believers, the fundamentalists, the costs of Brexit have always been irrelevant. Years of economic pain justified by the exotic spasm of leaving the European Union. The exotic spasm the exotic spasm of leaving the European Union.
Sir Vince, you are our tongue-tied of the week.
Oh, don't you like learning new words, though, that you can use as an insult when you go on in life?
You could tell even before he said it, he knew he was going to mess up, didn't he?
He clearly didn't want to say it, did he?
Imagine if that was in a leaders' debate And you said that. Imagine what that would do to
But
the
do you know what I
electorate.
realised? You felt the need to explain to me then that that's not a real word. I know it's not a real word.
I thought it was a new Russian nerve agent. I was quite nervous about it, actually.
Is it a mixture of two words? What was it?
OK, well, that's it for this episode of The Pledge. See you next time.